Monarch Devin waved down at the horde of rabid followers, a wide smile on his face as he soaked in the praise. The glory of being king washing over him in a wave. Reaching into a pouch at his thick waist belt, Monarch Devin drew a handful of coins and threw them out over the crowd. Hearing as their cheers rose to a fevered pitch, the monarch closed his eyes, spreading his arms wide. The coins clattered to the ground in a sudden, deafening silence. Devin opened his eyes, gazing down at the now mist-filled, empty castle courtyard. The soft sounds of distant screams and gunfire reached his ears. Then he saw it. It stood alone in the middle of the courtyard, black smoke rising from its shadow-black body. It was crouched down, as though wounded, its form shifting and twisting like it wasn't truly there. Slowly, it raised its head, eyes black circles rimmed with white that bored into Devin's soul. You. The word was long, drawn out and so haunting that it made Devin take a step back. You killed us. The figure stood, and in a blink it was standing before the monarch, making him stumble backwards and fall as he looked up at the demonic entity. A chorus of screaming voices rose from its body. Now you die! The monarch scrambled to his feet, heart pounding like a kettle drum as he sprinted back into the castle. He slammed the castle's heavy wooden doors behind him, only to hear them explode open. The screaming entity was hot on his tail, the smell of mold and rot coming off of it in stinking waves, as more and more screams joined the chorus. Devin screamed for his guards, watching as they popped up around him, only to be eviscerated into bloody chunks. Legs burning, chest heaving, the monarch desperately tried to outrun the vengeful spirit chasing him. But he tripped over the loose hem of his royal robe. He cried out in fear for mercy as he swung his fists in a desperate bid to save himself. The specter caught his arms before slowly, almost tenderly, leaning in. The monarch fell silent, hoping for mercy, but he got none as the vengeful spirit ripped his throat out with its teeth. The monarch awoke, screaming and tearing at his sheets. In a panic, Devin bolted out of bed and burst out of his bedchamber's door, falling into a surprised royal guard's arm as he screamed and spat. They're gonna kill me! Save me! Save me! The royal guard set the now near catatonic monarch against the wall and checked the dark bedchamber with a helmet-mounted floodlight. Finding nothing, the guard returned to the hallway and tried to calm his emperor king down. But Devin was having none of it as he stared at the mob of maimed and disfigured humans that stared at him from the room. One, not but a skeleton in a dark and ragged cloak, stood and stared blankly at him from the doorway, before lifting an hourglass with very little sand left in the top. Devin blinked, and they were gone. However, the tyrant monarch would not be going back to sleep. Get me my royal advisor, now! The monarch muttered, wiping the condensation from his face scales. The royal guard didn't move, seemingly torn between guarding his emperor and following direct orders. This drew the emperor's already boiling anger. I said now! Don't make me feed you to the experiment! The royal guard went running, as Emperor Devin desperately tried to calm himself. The image of the near-empty hourglass stuck in his head. On the other end of town, in an abandoned bunker, a boy peeled his eyes open. Hearing the gurgling of his new roommate's fish tank, he let out a sigh of relief. That was a weird dream, Drake muttered. He could still taste the metallic flavor of the monarch's blood in his mouth.